Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name's Laura, I love all things books, and this week we're going to go through some of my autumn book recommendations as well as my autumn TBR. I feel like I want to do one of these videos every season because seasonal reading is fun. I didn't used to really care about the seasons, but I feel like in the last couple months I've gotten into wanting to read according to the season, especially when it was summer. I wanted to read anything beach related, and now it's getting a bit cooler and I'm feeling the autumn vibes. So let's go through some of my recommendations for autumn reads. The first book on my recommendations list is Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. This is a romance and this is a controversial trope. I don't like describing books by their tropes, but this one is quite tropey. It is an accidental pregnancy trope. That's not a spoiler, it's literally on the back. So our main character Win has a one-night stand with Beau at a Halloween costume party, and Win has a limb difference. So I'm pretty sure one of her hands is different, and I think she was dressed up as a pirate for Halloween. Anyways, so she meets Beau. He's also dressed up as a pirate. They sleep together. She gets pregnant. Oh no. Win decides to keep the baby and inform Beau, and they're both a little bit like conscientious and concerned or worried about what's going to happen. They decide to get to know each other because they want to keep the baby and they want to co-parent. So they decide to get to know each other. They get to know each other quite well. This is such a cute romance. I usually wouldn't go for the accidental pregnancy trope just because, I don't know, that sort of thing gives me anxiety. But these characters are so cute together. Beau is one of my S tier book boyfriends. He is so lovely. He also has a limb difference you can see on the cover. So yeah, they're able to connect over that, and it's really sweet. It was really refreshing to see main characters with disabilities, and I feel like this is the perfect autumn read. I can't really explain it. It gives autumn. I mean, maybe because it's set around Halloween and that's in autumn in America, but I don't know. It's just a nice, cozy romance. You can definitely cuddle up and read it all snuggled up and warm. I don't know. Anyways, that's the first recommendation. Next up, we have two Ashley Poston books. We have The Dead Romantics and The 7-Year Slip. The 7-Year Slip is a 6-star read for me. I need to reread it. I haven't read it in maybe 2 years, but I loved it. I remember just loving it so much. And then I read The Dead Romantics. And a cool thing about Ashley Poston is these are not just your ordinary romances. They have a touch of magical realism in there to make things interesting, and I think that's what really sets her apart from other romance authors. So in The 7-Year Slip, we have our main character Clementine. She moves into her aunt's apartment, and a couple days into living there, she walks in and there's a man in her apartment, and she's like freaking out, obviously, and he says that her aunt is subletting this apartment to him, and he's confused why she's there. There's just a whole lot of confusion. Turns out that there is something magical about this apartment where you can go back and forward in time by 7 years. So Clementine has walked in and she finds this man who is from 7 years in the past. And yeah, it's a cute little love story around that. I feel like it's so unique, and I just remember loving this. Perfect fall vibes, autumn vibes. Just look at the cover. It's set around autumn. And then we have The Dead Romantics, which is about Florence. She's a ghost writer, and she's supposed to be writing romance novels for this big shot author, but she's just had a bad breakup and she's not into the idea of love right now. But she's got a deadline from this new editor called Benji, and she's really worried because he's being really strict and she has no motivation. But one day something happens and she has to go back home to her family, and she opens the door and she finds a ghost. Oh my god, you for real? And it is her new editor, Benji. He's died and he's a ghost, and he's for some reason at Florence's house. No, you for fake. No, you for real. I loved this. I thought it was so unique. It is a little bit weird falling in love with a ghost, but I did really enjoy how it was done. And Ashley Poston also does a very good job of dealing with complex and deep topics and interweaving them into the romance plotline. It's just lovely, and it's just something different if you're looking for a new sort of romance. This is very autumn vibes as well. It's cold, it's dreary, it's not quite winter, but I also like how it deals with the topic of death, obviously, in a more lighthearted way with ghosts and whatever else. Really love this one. Next up, I'm going to recommend The Very Irregular Society of Witches by... actually don't remember who. Why? It's human nature. The book is actually called The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sengu Mandana. Pretty much you're following this witch called Mika, and she's part of the Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. And what their mission is they want to keep themselves safe and keep themselves contained and the secret of their magic contained from the rest of the world. So they meet every once in a while, maybe like once a month or once a year, to discuss how that's going and if there are any issues with that. But they're very, very strict. However, Mika has a social media page where she pretends to be a witch, and I feel like she's like, yeah, that's fine because nobody's gonna believe me, and I'm not actually doing magic on here. I'm just doing like mild magic that any human could make up as well. So she attracts the attention of this family who begs her to come and help teach these two young witches who are struggling with containing their magic. And at first she's very reserved because she's like, how did they know I was a witch? But they just did, and the found family in this is so cute, as well as the romance. There's a little subplot of romance in there. I really enjoyed this cozy fantasy, and I feel like even though our autumn season doesn't match up with Halloween like it does in America or England, I still associate autumn with Halloween and witches and vibes like that and fantasy, and I feel like this is just the perfect cozy read if you're wanting something whimsical and magical to get you into the autumn spirit. I don't know if you can even get into the autumn spirit. It's not the best season. Actually, I really love autumn. I might be biased because my birthday is in autumn, but I love that it's getting cooler, but it's not too cold yet. Anyways, I would also recommend listening to this book. I listened to it. I loved the narrator. I have never felt so much listening to a book before ever. She just did an amazing job of the character voices, and I don't know, I feel like the book is just good. Anyway, next up I'm going to recommend Alone with You in the Ether by Olivia Blake. Now, I read this ages ago. Let me see. Oh, I literally read this 3 years ago. Like exactly, almost. 2nd of April 2023. My memory does fail me, but I do remember really, really enjoying myself, and I gave it 5 stars. This, I feel like, is the sort of romance where it's more literary fiction type vibes. But you know, you've got the dual point of view of both characters, but they're both going through so much separately that it's focused on that, but then also how they come together throughout all of that, just how they love each other to get themselves through life. Yeah, I think this is my favorite Olivia Blake. I have only read another one, which I'm about to talk about, but this one, I just remember thinking that it was a masterpiece and that the characters were so relatable, so real, and so raw. And I really appreciated that in a romance and in a book in general. I feel like throughout the video, I'm going to progressively be more casually sitting. My back hurts. Let's go get the next book. Fuck. My next recommendation is The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. This is a completely different sort of book to Alone with You in the Ether. This is a fantasy, and it's quite a complicated fantasy, and I would also describe it as dark academia vibes, and I associate dark academia with autumn and fall because it's dreary, it's cold, it's autumn. So I'm just going to read the back because I did read this one a long while ago as well. Once a decade, the world's best magicians are invited to join the elite Alexandrian society. Its members enjoy a lifetime of power and access to ancient secrets, but only 5 places are offered. So after recruitment by the mysterious Atlas Blakely, candidates must complete a rigorous year of arcane study. So there's actually 2 more books after this, and I haven't read them just because I left it for so long and I didn't really feel like going back into this world. But I don't know if this is in all copies, but my copy has like little drawings of the characters, and I think that was really cool. I did really enjoy this book. I'm pretty sure I gave it like 4.5 or 5, no, not 5 stars. Oh, I gave it 3.75 stars. Anyway, this is a good fantasy Dark Academia vibe, and it's quite different to anything I've ever read before. So would definitely recommend this for autumn. Next up, we have a book that I have talked about at length on this channel, but that is Babel by R.F. Kuang. This is another Dark Academia fantasy type vibe, and it's about the Tower of Babel, which is Oxford University's Royal Institute of Translation, and it's the tower from which all the empire flows. So the British Empire relies on this tower and relies on the magic system of the translation to build its empire and colonize the rest of, or try to colonize the rest of the world. This follows 4 students who are accepted into Oxford University to work at the Institute of Translation, and it is just so good. Such a good message on the way that our society is run and how it got there, but done in fantasy and dark academia, and it's very good. Perfect autumn read as well. Next up, we have Circe by Madeline Miller. This is the author of The Song of Achilles, and that one is super popular. I read half of it and then put it down probably literally over 3 years ago now, just because I got distracted by another book. It was a couple months into my reading journey. I don't even think, maybe it was like the first month when I was getting back into reading. I remember really enjoying it, but I just never got to finishing it. So anyways, I picked up Circe, and this one is a Greek retelling of Circe. So Circe is the daughter of Helios, who is the god of the sun and the mightiest of the Titans, and she possesses the power of witchcraft. This poses as a threat to the gods, and
technical difficulty. We having tech, we having tech, we having technical difficulty. We having technical.
Hey guys, my microphone died and I had filmed the entire rest of the video with no audio. So we're gonna try again, but please bear with me. I am over it. What was I talking about? Circe. So I think what I was up to was that Circe was banished to an island, and I don't know if anyone knows Greek mythology and Greek lore, but she meets Odysseus and stuff happens. So yeah, this is a very good autumn read. I feel like I'm just recommending books that are a bit more heavy, and I don't know, I feel like in autumn you want to sit at home more and read more, so you're going to be more likely to read these sort of more dense books. So yeah, would recommend that one. I'd also recommend The Secret History by Donna Tartt. This is about, oh my god, I just went over this, guys. I just went over this. This book is described as a modern classic, and it is, I would say, classic dark academia with a little bit of murder mystery. Well, dark academia usually means that there's some sort of a murder because it's dark. So I'll just read the synopsis. Under the influence of their charismatic classics professor, a group of clever, eccentric misfits at an elite New England college discover a way of thinking and living that is a world away from the humdrum existence of their contemporaries. But when they go beyond the boundaries of normal morality, they slip gradually from obsession to corruption and betrayal. It's quite dramatic, but it's a dramatic book. Yeah, like the students are studying ancient Greek or something. Pretty sure it's ancient Greek. And so they're very isolated because nobody who is studying ancient Greek, like literally who. So they're very influenced by their literally crazy professor and each other, and yeah, things go down. Next up, I want to recommend Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. I've talked about this one at length on my channel as well, but it's just amazing and definitely a more emotional, denser book. denser, more dense book, which is perfect for autumn. As I said, this is about Shakespeare and his son Hamlet, who passed away when he was very young, and the family's journey through that inescapable grief that they have to go through. And I rated it 5 stars. I loved it. Yeah, it's historical fiction, autumn vibes. Next up, I'm going to recommend If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. This is another dark academia set in this college that's very prestigious, and it's like a theatre college, and so all the students speak in this crazy Shakespearean dialogue. So I would say be wary of that. It's heavy on this Shakespearean lingo and sometimes it could get quite tiring. But another classic dark academia, you've got a murder mystery at the beginning of the book and then it goes back in time to see how we got there. And yeah, good for autumn reading as well. I'm so sorry, I've done this before and I'm just like over it. And lastly, I'm going to recommend The Book Thief by Markus Zusak. This is a historical fiction set in Nazi Germany. This is a very popular book. It's a movie. It's really, really good. Warning, it will rip you apart and step on the pieces. I'm pretty sure this one personifies death, but I remember thinking that there was something really interesting about that and about how the main character talks to death or relates to death. Yeah, definitely personifies death. So I feel like that is a very unique take, or it was when this was written. And we're following Liesel, who is a child in Nazi Germany, and she starts to accidentally steal books because the Nazis burned all those books because they were trying to enforce censorship, which is very bleak when you think about what's going on right now. Anyways, Liesel gets into stealing. She becomes a little pickpocketer of books. This is another great read for autumn, but again, be wary, it hurts. Now I'm going to quickly go through some books that I want to get to in autumn. It is already a month into autumn, but I don't care. We've got If It Makes You Happy by Julie Olivia. This is very on the nose, as you can see from the cover. This was described to me as small town romance, Gilmore Girls vibes. Gilmore Girls, the show, is already very autumn coded. If you haven't watched Gilmore Girls, literally what are you doing? Go and watch it. Perfect for autumn as well. But yeah, I think this is just your classic small town romance, heavy on the autumn vibes. So I definitely want to get to that soon. I also want to get to Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonham Young. This is the second book in this interconnected standalone series, and this one follows a couple that are already married, which is, I think, really cool and really unique. But I don't know if a lot of people enjoyed that because it's sort of like, well, they're already together. But I feel like they're going through maybe a little falling out, maybe a little rough patch in their marriage, and it's about them trying to get their spark back, and I think that's really cute, and I am quite excited to read this. And I feel like I just associate it with autumn because they're in the woods. We don't even have woods here in Australia. Next, I would love to read Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. This is my book club pick for March and April. I haven't read it yet. That is a very cozy fantasy though, but I feel like it's perfect for autumn. Very cozy fantasy vibes. I literally could not tell you what it's about except for the fact that Emily Wilde is making an encyclopedia of fairies, because that's the name of the book. I know I could probably get to the rest of the series, but I don't know, we'll see. So that's by Heather Fawcett, and then Heather Fawcett has also released another book called Agnes Orbert's Mystical Cat Shelter. This is another cozy fantasy from her, and I have it reserved at the library. I'm very excited to get to it. It sounds super cute. It's about a woman who runs a cat rescue in 1920s Montreal, and she turns to a grouchy but charming wizard to help save the shelter in this heartwarming cozy fantasy. Yay! Sounds so cute. I don't know. I love cats, if they're nice to me. I would also love to read I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. This is another library book I have borrowed, but look how short. It's under 200 pages, and it's about this group of women who live underground. They don't know why they're there. None of them remember. But they do remember the outside world, whereas there's this young girl who's in there with them who literally has lived in there her entire life. So she doesn't know men because it's all women down there. But she is the key to their escape, apparently. This seems very interesting. We love a bit of a mystery vibe for the cooler months. And I do need to get to this in autumn because it's a library book. Another book on my radar for autumn is Calabasas by R.F. Kuang. This is her latest release and it's also a dark academia fantasy. Sounds really interesting. I think it's about this girl going to the underworld, hell. On Goodreads it says that Calabasas means in ancient Greek the story of a hero's descent to the underworld. I feel like that's pretty cool. I don't know the plot exactly and I don't want to really because I like to go into things blind, but I think she's trying to save someone from hell. So yeah, I'd love to get to that, as well as Blood Over Bright Haven by M.L. Wang. This is another dark academia fantasy I have reserved at the library. Don't know what it's about, but I have heard very good things. It's quite popular and I didn't realize it was released literally 3 years ago. I thought it was brand new, but that's okay. That looks very exciting. Next up, I want to read Heavenly Bodies by Imani Eriu. I think this is just a romantasy. I don't know, I just would love to read more fantasies in autumn because fantasy mood. Cold months mean fantasy. Love to get to that one. As well as Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. This one is complete mystery to me. I have no idea. I'm pretty sure it's a fantasy, like it has to be. But the blurb just says, Piranesi lives in the house. Perhaps he always has. Then messages begin to appear, scratched out in chalk on the pavements. There's someone new in the house, but who are they and what do they want? I feel like this is quite short. Really just need to get to it because I've had it on my TBR for a while. Then I need to get to King of Ravens by Claire Sager. Mainly because I borrowed it from the library. What I did was I reserved a bunch of books and they all say, hey, you're going to be on the wait list for so long. And I'm like, hey, that's great. I don't need all these books right now. But then they all become available. Anyways, I have to read this. This is a fantasy. I know nothing about it, but I feel like it's more fairy vibes, like unseelie fairy vibes. But I have heard very good things. This is a newer book. I think it was only released this year, so would love to get to that one. And then lastly, on my priorities for autumn is The Winners by Fredrik Backman. As you can see, this is a library book. And this is the third book in the Beartown trilogy. Now, why is it so big? Why is it ginormous? Why could I fit both the first and second book within this book and it would still not be as long as the last book? I don't really care because I love Fredrik Backman and I love his writing and I love this town and this trilogy. However, I'm scared. I'm scared what it's going to do to me emotionally. This is not really autumn vibes, but I do need to get to it before winter because I have until the 21st of April to read it and then I have to return it. But I'm just like, it's ginormous. Anyways, that is the end of this video. I hope you got some good recommendations for autumn. I feel like my perception of autumn reading might be different to yours, but I just see it as books that I would want to read in the colder months, all cozied up. And yeah, let me know what books are on your autumn TBR. I would love to know, as well as which books I should get to first in my TBR for autumn. I have so many books to read. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to see more content like this. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you next week. Bye.
We having technical difficulties. We having technical difficulties. We having technical